Hello friend, it's Colrain or Colrain Tarot here on YouTube. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. Tonight, what I'm creating for you, for anyone, the collective of people that find this video, is a Reiki healing session where I seek to help you reprogram your subconscious mind and your associations that you may have with the devil or Satan, Lucifer, whatever you'd like to call that energy. Now, I know that this topic is a little bit out there and not for the faint of heart, and it is something that we do have a lot of fear-based programming around as a collective. But also, if you have any religious association, there's a lot of religious trauma around this topic. So, I don't want to try and reshape your beliefs if you do have a belief that is associated with like that rhetoric. But I do want to open you up to a different way of thinking that is not so fear-based. So, I'm going to be using some tools, and I also want to put the disclaimer out there that I am not claiming to be like a Satan worshiper or a devil worshiper or anything like that. That is not my intention of this video at all. But I am, and I'm also not associating Reiki with the devil. So I just wanted to get all of that out there. Sorry for the long intro, but without further ado, we're going to dress our candle with some Hamsa oil. And Hamsa is a protective energy, so this is going to create a space where we can feel safe and secure and okay to explore these concepts. And I kind of want to make some noises with this. And I have my microphone down here, so that's why I'm doing it towards here. And tonight I'm going to be using a tobacco and vanilla candle. I got this from World Market, I think. I don't really approve of their entire store thing with their culture stealing, but this is an old candle, so yeah, and it doesn't have anything else on it. I don't have a brand, but it smells really lovely, and tobacco is a wonderful offering kind of a tool. So I'm gonna be using this kind of as an offering towards the spirits that are gonna help us in the future after we receive this energy, because I do think that this kind of reprogramming is something that might take a little while. I'm anticipating that it's going to be a longer process. So I want to light this candle with the intention that it is an offering to the highest function of whatever this energy needs to do in our lives. I also want this to be an offering to spirits that might be assisting. Ooh. And also, I forgot, I didn't light because I didn't say that it is also going to be protective over the space. And that flame is nice and big. And if you have any specific intention that you'd like to set to, as long as it doesn't have to do with like the free will of another person, you can also set that here as well. And I'm gonna light this candle as well, just for some more good fun. And we're gonna light this candle with the intention that any religious trauma or associations that have to do with spiritual bypassing, which is like keeping us only focused on the good, that keep us from our shadow self, or from what we call the shadow self, so keep us from that side of ourselves that is a little bit more uncomfortable to integrate, that just assists us in lovingly drawing that in and looking at that part of ourselves with open arms and an open heart. Okay, so from a religious perspective, the devil is kind of, I guess, demonized, if you're going to use that traditional terminology. But the devil is an energy that is usually kind of compared as a binary with God, so like being the opposite of God. And if we're going to look at this from like a more New Age spirituality kind of perspective, we might see the devil as being an internal part of humanity, the density of our experience, because like in tarot, the devil card is the depth or the dense part of our experience, and God would be kind of like the ego, or being like a higher self, being more of actually the devil might be the ego, and then God would be like this higher self or a higher spiritual version of ourselves, or like a higher consciousness, collective consciousness. Now the devil, we often will associate this energy with like the snake in the Garden of Eden story, and this kind of an energy is also like in that story used as knowledge and wisdom. And the Latin name for the devil card is Typhon, which means logic. So being rational, being logical can be associated with the devil energy, because the devil is being able to like look at things for face value, see things in their physical form. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult for us to get past that physical form, and that's why, when people draw a pentagram, they'll draw that upside down pentagram, which is a star, and they'll do it facing down. The downward arrow part of that is talking about being like very egoistic, narcissistic, even being focused on the self versus what is good for like the highest function. And so this devil kind of association that I'm seeking to reprogram with this video, and just the energy that I'm sending to you, is a fear of that kind of energy. So when you see things that you typically associate with like demons or devil, or like that you would be kind of scared of, or like that are darker in nature, that you don't have a fear program that's associated with that. So I'm going to be using a jasmine blossom incense, and this is going to open up the heart space so that we can clear out any fear-based energy that is there. And another biblical association that I think is there with that devil kind of energy is actually Jesus. And I know that all of us know who Jesus is and know at least the surface level of the story. But there's part of it where he's actually called like the light bringer. He is talked about having a winnowing fork, and he is the ruler over demons. Sorry, I'm going to open up my incense coffin. Excuse me if that was loud for you. But as the ruler over demons, he would have to be pretty comfortable with that energy, right? And the name Lucifer is a name that means light bringer. And so I think that there's actually an association there, where this devil energy, we can see it as like an unobstructed human energy, or human energy that really understands the complexity of our dense bodies, of why we have been embodied in this human form. And so with that light, I kind of want to get a little bit more into and I'm using this to cleanse your energy as I talk about this. This is a rosemary bundle, and this is for purity and protection and love and all that. But Lucifer is, I think, kind of a hedonistic side of demonic or devilish energy. And a Luciferian energy is only focusing on the light as a light bringer. Sometimes when we talk about light workers and people that do a lot of spiritual bypassing, they're kind of being Luciferian. And so on the other side, alternatively, sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit. On the other side of that, we would have something that is satanic, and there's a lot of like horrible associations in the Christian church, especially with Satan and that name. But a satanic version would be kind of almost like an ascetic view of life, where because the ego is controlling so much, especially like a spiritual ego possibly too, you want to reject other people and say, oh, they're lower than me, they're less pure, all of that. It's kind of rejecting humanity and trying to escape being a human, right? And or like questioning the need for doing things for like a higher function or for like a collective good. And it's I see that as more like selfish. So where hedonism is kind of selfishness to escape and only focus on pleasure, satanic would be a similar thing, but action based. So abstaining from taking certain actions because they are uncomfortable, or being complacent in the actions that you're taking that are selfish, and not being able to like talk yourself out of certain experiences. Okay, so I had a few notes. Oh, also another side of that, like satanic, Luciferian type of thing. I feel like part of this is like being hyper disciplined, disciplining yourself to the point of being like taking control or being like extra controlled. I feel like this is like Luciferian, I feel like, is kind of the perverted feminine, and then satanic is the perverted masculine. So when we get to authoritarian, get into satanic, because you're not thinking with the good of others in mind, you're not getting in touch with that emotional self. And then Luciferian is getting really, really entrenched into the emotional to the point of not being able to find a balance there. It's too pleasure seeking. So, and I feel like this is something that once we get comfortable talking about this like more devilish energy, it helps us to question our reality in an essential way, in a way that helps us to progress humanity and to be more comfortable with like the density of our own human body. Introspection doesn't become something that is selfish, but it becomes something that is for like the collective and for the highest function, being able to take care of ourselves. Because with that, again, going back to that pentagram, that downward arrow is being able to go within, and it's not inherently bad to go down to to go to the depths of something or the roots of something. And so in a way that is somewhat like demonic. Even though we have this horrible association with demons, because demons are like chaos type of beings sometimes, because it is chaotic to go within, it is chaotic to be a human, but I don't want that to be something that is fearful for you or fear-based, because those chaotic energies gain power when there is fear on the inside of us that is feeding that. So I want to rub some of these rocks together. I have a little moon type rock, and then this black and rust red colored rock, and I apologize for the airplane noise outside. I hope that's not too bothersome once I start doing this, but future me. Okay, but we're going to use these two for the moon, the connection to the moon, which is going to be connecting us to that intuition, that introspective, that like side of ourselves that has the shadow, that can operate comfortably with that shadow being integrated. And then this black rock with the red is just for that like darkness, for the association, bringing together the shadow and the light, kind of the two polarities, and seeing the beauty in these two things merging. And I forgot to set the intention of where this energy is going. So this energy is going to wash over the entire body. I'm thinking almost like a silk blanket, kind of maybe cleaning off like your window if your body is glass, kind of wiping away those smudges and helping you to see clearer, for the fear to not obstruct the view. And I especially want to focus this down into the root chakra, and that's why I have this red theme going on. I've got red light in front of me. And I feel like a lot of our shadows kind of live in the root chakra sometimes. I also want to go down to the earth star chakra, because that is a lot of our density. It helps us with decomposing, with embracing cycles of nature, with our connection to the earth, and so many beautiful things that the earth does. Again, with a demonic type of energy, or a devilish energy, or just the devil in general, there would be worshipping of the material world or the physical world. And so sometimes getting stuck in the physical world keeps us in this devilish energy without us even realizing it. And so I want to kind of rub my hands together a little bit, warm them up, and send balancing energy towards the heart chakra so it can seep down through. I'm kind of avoiding focusing on these upper chakras, except maybe towards the end I might do some crown chakra balancing, but right now I'm sticking towards the lower ones, because I feel like that's where a lot of the fear and subconscious fear can come from, especially if it's been programmed. But I want to send in some energy that helps us with that materialism in the heart, helping us recognize that when we are bringing in light codes, we are doing shadow work and light work, and we're doing it in a balanced and even state. And so it's important for us to feel comfortable with these like devil topics, thinking, what is the devil to me? What do I associate with it? Am I afraid of it? Am I afraid of working with or experiencing a spirit that might be more demonic versus an angelic spirit? Because sometimes we only want to focus on bringing in angels, and we forget the importance of having a balance and being able to use that questioning energy. I do feel like there are a lot of demons that help us question or help us understand. Like when we talk about inner demons, those are very much, sorry, I will charge my hands. Those are very much energies that exist within our own selves or outside of ourselves that are here to instruct us and to help us. There is nothing that is completely purposeless in this lifetime. So I'm going to send you some energy to your heart that helps you with the questioning, with the understanding. And this is timeless energy, so this will go to you whenever you need it. And this is helping to remove any fear, helping for the fear to be instructive, to know when fear is helping us to survive, to get out of a situation that we need for fear to help us. Okay, and I'm going to send in some traditional Reiki symbols. Just into the heart space. Do a little bit of a sound cleanse. Let me move this out of my way. To cleanse your aura. I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm thinking of like clearing out cobwebs, almost if you have like kind of attachments or things, they can kind of fall down. It's almost like they unlatch, you know? If there's like programs that aren't serving you around this kind of energy. I'm being called to do another cleanse, another smoke cleanse, as I talk a little bit more. I want to give you a little bit of that goodness, the sound. Okay. I'm going to move. We're just sending this through your aura to calm your energy. Because I do feel like I worked you up a little bit with that conversation earlier. It's important when we are processing programs or we're doing energy work that has to do with processing, that we consider our own need to rest. The resting and the thinking is kind of what helps us with the processing. Okay, I'm going to put this out. Okay. Let me make sure that's all the way out. And I want to do a little bit of tapping while I talk again. And this is just a little candle holder. It has a little Leo on it. I'm a Leo. But that reminds me of the association with fire. So that's also why I've brought in a lot of fire today. It's because fire is something that regenerates all of nature. And there is something to be said about like hell and fire and like those darker associations and what they have to do with fire as an element, as a cleansing agent, as something that it like works with rituals. But fire is light and warmth, but it also can have the power to destroy. So it depends on how you're using something. And I think that that's really important. So I want to bring this energy in the mental pathways of being able to discern and know that all energy is useful and it's at your disposal for your own discernment for what you choose to use it for. Just as things exist on spectrums in between binaries, there is also choice, which exists right in the middle. Choice is neutral. Choice is not associated with anything. Okay. And so, I'm going to do a little bit of tapping. And I'm going to do a little bit of clairvoyance. I'm seeing someone riding a horse. I feel like this is talking about getting ready. I feel like some of you may feel like you're almost going into battle. I keep seeing 22 and repeating 2s. I feel like some of you, this is talking about business partnerships or joining a group, some kind of collective of people that have a similar wavelength of thought. Someone being able to think in a similar way as you. I'm also seeing dryness, desert. So I'm feeling like for some of you, things have kind of pooled up or started to feel, where am I going to put this, stuck or muddy. And that's almost why I feel like I started to do that wiping away earlier. Because when we get like too much humidity, moisture, it's like we take in all this information and then we need to let it dry out. We need to let it air out. The dryness isn't necessarily bad. So I think that's why I'm working so much with the fire and the air today. It's just to let all that moisture kind of soak up. And I think that's important right now, to dry out. If you haven't spent a lot of time in the sun, maybe spend time in the sun in the next couple days. And I hope you don't mind, but I want to do a little bit of a tarot reading. I'm using the Gothmancy deck today. Because what other deck would I use in a video like this? Look at this beautiful art on the back of the box. It's lovely. And this, I believe, is by Stephanie Elia and Daniela F.A. So I'll unbox this for you. And we're going to shuffle. I'm going to cleanse the deck a little bit. And start shuffling and just ask, what can the collective who views this video benefit from right now? We got the 4 of Cups right away. Is there any more messages they would like to come through for this video on the devil? 8 of Cups. So it's interesting. This is water energy. And like I said before I even pulled cards, we got the 4 of Cups here, which can be talking about emotional stagnancy or that emotional pooling, kind of getting offers from something that it's like it just doesn't resonate. So it's using your discernment. And on the bottom of the deck, even more Cups energy, Page of Cups. And so this is the subconscious energy. It's like, I feel like a lot of you want some kind of emotional, or like maybe it's not that you want that. I feel like this is a yearning that is happening in the collective, so it's maybe not exactly one that you're going to resonate with specifically, but this is a general idea. So, okay, going back to that religious trauma kind of a thing, I got it. Sometimes we are given an emotional program about something and we see it at face value, like this is this. There is no other way to think about it. And when we ask these questions a little bit more and think about it, because I think of the page energy as more of a mental energy, regardless of what suit it's in. It's more in the mind. The knight is more in the actions in the physical realm. But the page is very much stewing on this. And I feel like there's a very emotional association that we have with our own shadow sides. There's sometimes shame that we have involved there, and it's almost naive to feel that kind of shame there, and we just continue to let ourselves repeat these cycles. And so I'm hoping that this energy is going to help us offshoot, help us rethink what does this devil energy serve in my life? How can I become more comfortable with it? And also, I think with this Four of Cups too, I think it's recognizing, where is this programming not working for me anymore? Where does this keep me under the control of another person or another entity or another group? There's something called an egregor, which I'm being drawn to right now, which is a separate spiritual entity that does not belong to one physical being or one astral being, but it is a collective of astral beings. And this is something that exists for all church collectives, all spiritual groups. Even every Reiki practitioner together has an egregor on the astral realm, and each of them resonate at a different frequency. Whatever it is associated to you, that's how it will resonate. But they all have their own frequencies, and something that I think is a characteristic of many Christian egregors would be this like fear of the devil, or creating a kind of black and white association between devil bad, God good, and like there's no in between or wiggle room. I don't think that the higher power that I believe in is completely good or completely bad. I think that it's better to try and find that kind of middle association, that gray area where the two can coexist at the same time, but that's just for me. And so I guess like it's this Four of Cups energy to me is saying like, how am I letting somebody else give me an emotional response? Because you see they're receiving a cup. And so hopefully this energy is almost like a good cup descending down, a good emotion that comes through. It's liberating. The devil card, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, but the devil card in tarot is one that is very misunderstood, and that's part of what's like ostracized tarot from religious spaces. And a lot of people don't see the devil as more than just bondage, being stuck to something. If you see your physical embodiment as being stuck in a body or being stuck in a dense energy, it's really hard to embrace all of the beauty that is in the physical world. And so if we can see our demons or our devilish side as being a sexy or creatively liberating or passionate part of our experience, we don't let it get away from us. It's like it's that expression, I got my demons on a leash, I'm friends with my demons. So that kind of a thing. And I think it's really important to make those associations and to allow ourselves to feel creatively liberated, to embrace all of the sides of ourselves. And that's really what the devil card is. It's not letting our arrogance get away from us, not letting our ego run the show. Because if you aren't afraid of yourself, there's like nothing that anybody can do to you. And I feel like that religious association with the devil is very one-sided, very flat, two-dimensional. It doesn't if Adam and Eve had never left the garden together, if they had never thought differently, they had never received that, like, that was created for a reason, you know? Like, I think God knew that was gonna happen. I don't know. I'll do a whole other thing on rewiring the programming around the Garden of Eden story if you guys would like. But I think, like, that wisdom that lies there of being able to question, being able to experience shame, even though it's such a, like, hard emotion to experience, and it's not one you want to stay at, it's an important part of the human experience that is there, whether we like it or not, and it's something that is instructive of us. So I guess seeing the instruction that's there. The Eight of Cups is a card right before the Nine of Cups where we get to walk into fulfillment. The Eight of Cups is the choice to walk forward. And so 4 to 8, they're multiples of one another. If you had 2 4s, it would make the 8. So I think it's really interesting. I enjoy this pairing right here. This is also, it has the moon. So again, using the intuition, using the divine feminine side of ourselves, that side of ourselves that is intuitive, that is in touch with the emotional self, to know where our emotions are saying, this isn't serving me anymore, I'd like to walk forward, I'd like to move into a new energy. So, thank you, Gotham Sea Jack. I'm going to give it a little kiss, say thank you, and we'll set it to the side. I'm gonna use this carnelian stone, which is drawing back in on that creative passion, that kind of fire energy. And I want to use this to work down in the sacral chakra for you, to open it up like a blossom, like a flower, and allow it to be open to receiving, because I feel like if we're tapping into this divine feminine and breaking down these associations that we may have against our own creative selves, against our own emotional intelligence, opening it up and allowing for us to receive messages is going to really help to empower this energy system. And also, devil energy is also associated with sexuality sometimes, so I want to kind of work on that program that says that sexuality is inherently shameful, and kind of remove that shame, because I did bring up that shame and I want to get rid of that energy. And I'm underneath the table here, but I'm just pretending that, like, you're sacral, you're sitting in front of me, mirroring me. So I'm working in front of the sacral with the carnelian. Divine sexuality is something that exists in many non-Western religious practices. And if you have come from that kind of a background, that's really cool. You still may have shame around sexuality because I feel like it's just a secular thing, or secular meaning worldly, like a societal kind of a thing, to feel disempowered around sexuality, especially if you have a sexuality that deviates from a cisgender heterosexual association. So I kind of want to open this up to freedom of expression. Maybe I'm gonna kind of bring this energy up into the throat as well, because the throat is where we use this expression type of a thing. Okay. Finally, I really wanted to do a little bit more tapping. I kind of grew my nails out for this video so I could do some scratching and tapping, but I got this little silver antique pot the other day, and I think that there's something about silver and the moon together that, I don't know, I was just really drawn to include silver in this video. And so this metal has to be an accumulation of all the other elements. It has to go into fire, it has to be heated up in order to be shaped. It also has to take that earthy material which is being heated, and then it's cooled in the water. So it's all of these other elements, and then it turns into the metal, and metal is associated with the mind as well. And so I just want to use this kind of as a protective layer to pull in towards the end. Now that I brought in this calm and tried to stimulate the certain chakra system, I want this protection to come from the mind, leaving an opening for light to come through the kundalini, to awaken that kundalini fire serpent at the base of the energy systems, which, again, back to that Garden of Eden story, the kundalini, when it awakens, that serpent in our body, a fiery serpent, which is kind of devilish, it allows for us to start on our path, our purpose in life. And so I want to awaken that and allow for light to be channeled through the body, and a silver egg to be imagined around your body, and on the inside of the silver egg I want to draw in some of this red energy. Since I have this red light, I am feeling like a red light around your body would be really interesting to awaken that creative passion, to reprogram the fear. Red is also a very primal, or how would you say, natural kind of color. It's like blood. It's with the root chakra too. So drawing this in to envelop you. And if you are sleeping or trying to sleep, to just bring you into the state of complete peace, balance, harmony, so that you can balance all of this energy in your own system. Because we're not trying to swing one way or the other. We want to be balanced. Okay. To close this session, I'm going to do one last sound clearing like you would in a meditation. Just a little ding. And then I will send in a traditional Reiki symbol to close off the session, and I will do a little prayer over you, or prayer like a blessing, and then we will close this out. So, source energy, the intelligent energy of life, Reiki healing energy as well, please watch over, guide, protect, and assist whoever finds their way to this video for this subconscious reprogramming. Please help them with their association of fear-based control, narratives around the devil or demonic energy. Help them to gain the discernment, the internal vision, the intuitive guidance, and the wisdom and logic, rational reasoning, and emotional intelligence in order to express themselves in physical, non-physical ways without fear. Let them be the author of their story and be able to make conscious decisions. Okay. I'm sending you so many blessings, so much love, and so much assistance, I guess. I hope that the energy finds you and assists you to the highest function. Otherwise, I will see you in another video.